The trailer to Venom Let There Be Carnage came out, and it got me thinking of if Sony would actually allow this movie to be rated R. I'm not gonna get my hopes up. The trailer opens in San Francisco, so I guess Eddie's not going back to New York, and we see Eddie and Venom in their still crappy apartment. And Venom starts singing some song and is making a huge mess while making breakfast, and Eddie looks like he just wants to die. Hasn't Venom learned how to do things without making a mess yet, or is he just not looking at what he's doing? And Mrs. Chen is still around, and then it plays One is the Loneliest Number while Cletus Cassidy talks about how much he missed Eddie. So, at least they stayed friends. On top of that, it shows Venom eating people and Eddie investigating with the Daily Bugle. But it's the Western edition, so don't get your hopes up for him going to New York.
And how do we leave them? Waiting in the darkness for the rescuer who never comes.
Well, that's an obvious Spider-Man reference, even though he's probably not going to be in this. And then Cletus is about to be executed, but Carnage stops it, takes over his body, and I'm assuming he kills everyone here. And then he leaves with Shriek. And then we see Carnage, and he looks freaking awesome!
The chocolate delivery hasn't arrived yet.
No! I love how upset he gets. And finally, Carnage takes over this church. This could get rated PG-13 or R, depending on how much of a chance Sony wants to take with it. Carnage is one of the most chaotic and violent villains in the Spider-Man universe. I mean, this is a serial killer who gets taken over by an alien creature who just wants to destroy everything. And also he does some really violent stuff in the comics. They can easily make this rated R without making it overly violent. They were close with the first movie, they really pushed it to where it was borderline R, but yet the MPAA was pretty lenient since it is a comic book movie. They used quick shots and certain camera angles to keep it PG-13, especially the scenes where Venom was biting people's heads off. And also with Riot, cutting those people in that room could have been really violent too. All they would have to do is just show more of that stuff, and I think it would be fine to be R-rated, but still not overly violent. Before it came out, Ruben Fletcher did hint that the first one was going to be rated R, but then when it got rated PG-13, he claimed he didn't know where people got the idea, which was kind of odd, but anyway. There seemed to be a lot of pushback for that too, because people wanted it to be rated R, so maybe that will convince Sony to raise this one to that. Sony has said before that making the Venom movies R-rated would make it harder for Venom to cross over with Spider-Man, but I don't see why considering they own the film rights to him. Who cares what Disney wants? I would love for this to get rated R, that way they wouldn't have to hold Carnage back and we can see how crazy he can get. Especially with Shriek teaming up with him, they can do some real damage together. Carnage is one of my favorite villains of all time because he is so crazy and unpredictable. And there has been some hype and success with R-rated comic books recently, with Zack Snyder's Justice League and the Suicide Squad coming out soon. Sony is planning on only releasing this in theaters though, which might make it the first movie to do that since 2019. Which might hurt its chances to be rated R. Sony will want as many people to see it in the theaters as possible, especially families, and making it PG-13 could also serve as an incentive to get people who are still apprehensive about going to the theater to go as something to do with their kids. I really hope this gets an R rating because while I did enjoy the first one, I still feel like it could have benefited from getting rated R. Unfortunately, I think Sony will keep it PG-13, and maybe an R-rated director's cut for the Blu-ray. I really hope I'm wrong though. I've been waiting for Carnage to be in a movie since 2008. Don't screw this up, Sony. Don't forget to do the YouTube stuff, and thanks for watching.